thou shalt show all thy work. I mean, as we can see right here, they're totally saying that. But in conclusion, math rocks. I love math.
X squared plus 7x minus 18. This is a perfect square trinomial. This tells you to use your x box factoring. How do you know that? When you have a trinomial 1, 2, 3, and then half of the exponent of 2 equals 1, then you can do this. Zoom in. A times c is negative 18. Your b value goes here, which is your 7. Notice how those are numbers only. You need to think of the product, two numbers that will multiply to be negative 18, and then their sum is 7. Those two numbers are 9 and negative 2. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, and then 9 plus negative 2 or 9 minus 2 is 7. So because your a value is equal to 1, then you can just take these numbers, positive 9, negative 2. Your answer is B. Take a look at this student filled out. Look at, they already knew A, B, and C. They filled out their X, but then didn't realize their C value is actually negative 18. This student did X, and then they put it into the box, which is totally fine. Put in a 9X, negative 2X. First term always goes in the top left, last term always goes in the bottom right, and then you take the greatest common factor, X. Greatest common factor, X. Greatest common factor, 9. Greatest common factor, negative 2. You can multiply and double check your answer. X times x is x squared, negative 2 times x is negative 2x, x times 9 is 9x, 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, and then you take x minus 2, and then x plus 9 right there. That one looks very good. Question number 4, multiple choice, x to the 4th minus 8x squared plus 16. There is no greatest common factor here. You have a trinomial, 1, 2, 3, and then half of 4 is 2. That means you can use your x in your box. A is your 1, c is 16, a times c is 16, my b value is negative 8. The two numbers that multiply to be positive 16 are negative 4 and negative 4. And then if you add those together, you get negative 8. You're going to take these two here. You're going to take those two right here, and those will always go into the bottom left and the top right. Your first term here, I'm going to choose the color. Guess not. That is x to the 4th. Your first value always goes in the top left there, and then the 16 always goes into the bottom right there. And then you take the greatest common factor, x squared. X squared. Okay, this is a little tricky. Negative 4, and this one is negative 4. Remember, multiply to check your answer. X to the 4th, negative 4x squared, negative 4x squared, positive 16. X to the 4th minus 8x squared plus 16 if you combine like terms. So you have x squared minus 4, x squared minus 4. And then don't forget you have to have a b value that is 0. So a times c is negative 4, b value is 0. Your numbers are negative 2 and 2. So that goes right there and there. And so you have two of those. 1, 2. That's x plus 2 squared. And then x minus 2, there's 1, 2. That's x minus 2. That is your answer. Alright, so this student tried chunking. And it says method chunking, but I didn't understand it. If you chose the chunking method, your box would have been x squared. X squared. This student did something interesting. They added 0x. I think because they think that it was missing a b term there. Let's see what they get. And then they tried factoring by grouping, because they have 4 terms and they put it into the box, x squared. And then negative 8, no, it wouldn't work. X squared, no, it wouldn't work. Alright, this student didn't get a response. They got x squared minus 4 here, and I think they were trying to see if there's a GCF. There wasn't. This student missed the b is a 0. So they had it as 0x. So this was going in the right direction. This one looked good. Alright, this student did the x method, and then all of that was correct, and then right here. X times x cubed is x to the fourth, but x cubed times -4 is not -4x cubed. Alright, so now we have question number 5 on the backside. For your response, make sure to show all your work and box your answers. I had a lot of students not boxing their answers. Question number 5, you have a trinomial here, and you were saying, what's half of 5? It is 2.5, and that's not 2.5. So what does that mean? Well, the first thing you should always be looking for is the greatest common factor. Here I wrote out the factors. 6x to the 5th is 6, 3 x's, and 2 x's. Negative 24x to the 4th is -4 times 6 times x to the 3rd times x, because that would be x to the 4th. And then 18 is 6 times 3 times x cubed. And what do they all have in common? They all have a 6x to the power 3. So let's see if I can highlight that. This here, they all have this one. So this is what that's my greatest common factor right there. And then anything that is not circled, x squared minus 4 and positive 3 is what's left. And then from here, I can just use my x box method. A times c is positive 3, b value is -4. My two numbers are -1 and -3. And then this is our answer right there. I want to go down here. If you got some kind of common factor, I think I gave you 2. And then if you got this 6x to the 3rd but couldn't do that one, I gave you at least a 3. Let's take a look at some student work. This student got it. Looks good, looks good. Good job. Another student got the correct answer, showed their x. Good job. Alright, this student found the GCF. And look here, they found the common factor, and then they probably took out another 6 there. Here, they got stuck. They thought it was prime, and they didn't think of those numbers. So you can keep going. Alright, this student tried factoring by grouping, but there's only 3 terms, because they tried to fit all 3 of these into the box, and then they put a 0 there. But originally you only have 3 trinomials, so not 4, so don't use factoring by grouping. Okay, this one looks really nice. They've put out all the factors there to show you where they got the GCF, and then in this trinomial, then use your x in your box. This one looks really nice. Alright, this student tried to do the x box, but recognized they were doing the hard work, right? I could tell the student to have a calculator here, get a calculator. And then they filled it in here, right? But remember, this is a trinomial. That's the first condition. The second condition is what's half of 5? It is not 4, so you cannot use the x box method. Alright, question number 6 tells you 3 things: factor, identify the zeros, and sketch. So you have 4 terms here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this should automatically tell you factoring by grouping. I'm going to put this in the box. There is my z. Draw z right there. So 2x cubed, -3x squared, -32x, and then positive 48. Then what I'm going to do is just figure out my GCF here. You got cut off there. That is an x squared. This direction is a 2x, and this direction is a -3. And that -3 right there kind of gives me that hint. And then the GCF going this way is 16. Remember, multiply to check your answers. X squared times 2x gives me 2x cubed. X squared times -3, -3x squared, 2x times 16 gives me -32x. -3 times 16 is, that's a -16, got cut off, is a positive 48. So my answer is 2x minus 3, and then x squared minus 16. Then from there, recognize that you have a 0x right here. And then when you factor that, that's going to give you x plus 0x minus 16, and that's a difference of squares. So when you do your x, you'll get x plus 4x minus 4. Set those equal, so that's my factored answer. And then if you set those both equal to 0, you'll get x equals 3 halves, -4 and 4. This is identifying the zeros. And then to make a sketch, I put 3 halves, positive 4, -4, And the 48 is your C value, or your constant. And then the highest degree is a odd degree right here. Start down, end up. So, 2 points if you just filled out the box correctly, that you just put in that Z and you couldn't figure those out. I said you got 3 points if you got one correct, one of the three: factor, identify, zeros, or sketch. So if you can get 2x minus 3, x plus 4, x minus 4, I give you, that's factoring. I give you 3 points. 3.5 points if you get 2 correct, meaning like all the zeros or the graph. And then if you made a mistake, 3.75. Let's look at some work. All right, I wanted to show you this one. Student got put into the box. They factored it. Okay, here, which is perfectly fine, they set them equal to 0. Looks good, divided by, yes, this is correct. Okay, right here, pay attention. This was common mistake number 1. X squared minus 16. They added 16 to both sides. They took the square root. Pay attention. X equals 4. They're saying if you take 4 and you square it, the only answer, it equals 16. The only answer you can put in for X is 4. And this is wrong because the answer is also negative 4. Because negative 4 times negative 4 equals 16. And this should have given a hint, right? If they only had 2 zeros, right? Think about this. They only had 2 dots. But think about it. This is essentially a multiplicity of 2, right? Because you need a total of a degree 3. So this was common mistake number 1. What else mistakes? I wrote them down. Or another common mistake is, let's see if we can find it. I'm not sure if we can find the student work. X squared minus 16 is not x plus 8, x minus 8. Wrong. Put a 0x and then do your x box. And then another common mistake was x squared times x. People wrote 2x cubed. Remember, multiply outside your box to get inside the box to check your answer. Let's look at some more work. All right, take a look at this one. Filled out the box correctly. 2x minus 3, x squared minus 16, totally correct. And then right here, same thing. They didn't set it equal to 0. Although this is correct, 1.5. They missed one right here, 4. And then they knew it was cubic. They should have recognized that they were missing something right over there. Okay, here was a classic example of a mistake right here. Student filled inside the box correctly. There's your 2 points. But then right here, they took out the greatest common factor and they said the greatest common factor was only x squared, which is correct. This is correct. But right here, the greatest common factor is not just 1x. They do have an x, yes, but they're both even. So it should have been a 2 here. And to double check that, x squared times x is only x cubed, not 2x cubed. Here's the other classic mistake I said about. They put a b of 0x. Good. Right here, they should have just put in the x. Why is this wrong? Because if you did 4 over the box, then you would get x squared, 8x, 8x, and then 64. So if you multiply this out, you would get x squared plus 16x plus 64, not this.
I'm Mr. Eng's mom. Do your homework.